Jayson Tatum on the floor. Porzingis with the step back three, and yet you got a $20 million center in Luke Cornett. Jaylen Brown, full court sprint, fast breakdown, crowds lit. Derrick with the lockdown D. Every game feels like history. Highlights, reaction all season long. Your Celtics source with the intro song. Big takes, play-by-play and analysis. Sit back and relax, you don't want to miss.
One down, 15 to go. What's up, everyone, and welcome in to your Celtics source, home of your 1-0 Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics beat the Orlando Magic in round one, game number one, 103-86. And they did it without much of any scoring from Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum. Right? Both of them, especially Jayson Tatum, did so much on the defensive end in terms of rebounds and just, sort of getting around screens and whatever. But all of the scoring for this game came from Derrick White and Payton Pritchard. Derrick White, 30 points in 36 minutes, 7 for 12 from 3. He also had 2 blocks in this game and 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Derrick White just was on fire, knocking down everything from way outside to getting into the paint and doing his floater and whatever. And he really had to because, Jayson Tatum, yes, he got up to 17 points, but a lot of that was in the sort of garbage time of fourth quarter. For much of the game, he was struggling to knock down a shot, right? He finishes the game 1 of 8 from 3 and 8 of 22 overall. That's going to have to change if the Celtics want to, go where they're trying to go. Right? If they want to win the championship, Jayson Tatum's going to have to improve that shooting. And he's been struggling with shooting for, the last month or so of the regular season. So, doesn't really matter in round one, but once you get into the deeper rounds, that's going to have to change. But Jayson Tatum, he had 14 rebounds. What he wasn't able to do on that offensive end, like I said earlier, he made up for it by grabbing boards over some of the taller Orlando Magic players in Paulo Banchero and Franz Wagner. He was basically, he didn't get doubled that much in this game. I thought Orlando would double a lot, but I think if he had gotten doubled, the Celtics would have blown the Magic out even more, just because I think Jayson Tatum is at a point where no doubles bother him anymore. He just passes to the open guy, and someone like Derrick White knocks it down. But when you have Derrick White, making plays for himself, you don't really need Jayson Tatum to be making those plays for others, to be drawing attention from it. Jayson Tatum's always going to draw attention, right? He's always going to have a guy or maybe 2 hovering around him, which does make it easier for guys like Derrick White. But it still doesn't take away from the fact that Derrick White decided to take the game into his own hands, which, just incredible. Derrick White, 3 years ago in that 2022 finals, he just wasn't at the point where, Jayson Tatum struggled. Obviously, it was Jayson Tatum's first playoffs experience as well, but Derrick White wasn't there to help him out. And now that this team has been through it multiple times, when one guy is down, another guy can just step up. And that was the same for Payton Pritchard. Right? Payton Pritchard, just to, take his fantastic season right into the playoffs, 19 points in 25 minutes off the bench, and 4, 6, and 3, 6 of 8 overall. Super efficient in this one. What he got, whatever shots he took, he made them. He also had a couple plays where he got into the paint and had a great step through where he got, I think it was Franz Wagner, to jump in the air and then he stepped through. He also had a play in the first quarter, I believe, where he late shot clock where he pump faked, got I think it might have been KCP to jump, and then he bumped into him to take the shot, drawing the foul. So just great shot clock awareness. um, basically getting points on the board in every possession when Payton Pritchard had the ball in his hands. Even if you couldn't get a shot, you were still making something happen with either getting to the line or maybe getting an offensive rebound to reset the play. I believe yeah, he had one rebound in this game. I think it was an offensive rebound, but even if the rebound didn't go to him, crashing the boards, making it harder for Orlando to grab the boards. I want to talk about Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, 16 points, one less than Jayson Tatum, 0 of 2 from 3, 6 of 14 overall. So he was, fairly efficient. And, I didn't think, right early in the first half, we saw him being aggressive. So I don't think that knee injury was bothering him too much in this game. He wasn't, trying to go all out. But it didn't look like, at least from me watching it, that he was bothered by it. He just didn't need to, go out full aggressive because the Celtics were generating so many open shots against a team that, for much of this year has been the best in the league at preventing those shots. So, and that's what happened in the first half, actually. Right? It was Orlando had the lead going into half, I believe 49-48. And that was much because of what I'm looking at here. It was Paulo Banchero, which I'll talk about in a second, because he was fantastic in the game, and he definitely needs help if the Orlando's going to have any chance of winning. But what was really interesting about that first half is I think Orlando actually took more threes and made more threes than the Celtics made, which is just incredible. I mean, they cooled off because obviously they've been a horrific shooting team this season, 28th in the league to be exact. But they were streaky in that first half, and that's why they had the lead, because the Celtics did their classic defense where they tend to leave some of those poor 3-point shooters open and double guys like Paulo Banchero and Franz Wagner in the paint. And in the first half, it wasn't working because Orlando was getting the open shots like they got in the second half, but then they couldn't. Well, not exactly. I'll talk about the second half in a second. But in that first half, Orlando was knocking down the shots that Celtics were giving up, and that's how the Celtics have been killed in the past, where they get some not even like historic 3-point shooting, but like just they're leaving just too many guys open that even if it's a lower percentage, um, or even if it's a lower percentage, it's still a little bit higher than their normal average because they see that they're being left open, and so they have the confidence to take it because they're like, I'm going to be left open. I'm going to get to take as many as I want, and so they get into a rhythm, and then they start knocking them down. In that second half, though, things did change, right? The Celtics turned up the defense, matched Orlando's defense from the first half, and Orlando just basically stalled out on offense because they were not ready for a defense like that. Like, they were not used to playing a defense um, basically worth the same as their defense. I would say Boston's defense in that second half was better than Orlando's defense in the first half. Um, but they held them to just 39 points, I believe. Uh, let's see. 19 plus 19 plus 20 is 30, 37 points in that second half. It was a low scoring game in general, right? Boston didn't score over 30 points at all. They hit 30 points in the third quarter where they started to pull away, and that was their highest scoring number. But their defense basically turned off the Magic completely. But not Paulo Banchero. Paulo Banchero, 36 points in how many minutes? 42 minutes. So he has to play a team high and a game high 42 minutes just to get 36 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal and a block. He did have 4 turnovers, but he was unstoppable, I would say. The Celtics threw multiple guys at him. They didn't stick with one guy. Drew Holiday was guarding him for a little bit. Jaylen Brown, not as much, but you did get Derrick White on him a couple times. You got Payton Pritchard try to guard him, and Paul just bullied him into the paint. Um, but like I said earlier, right? Like they need someone else to, you know, basically stand up and like help him out, right? Franz Wagner, he had 23 points, but he only had like 3 points in the second half, right? Almost all of his points came in that first quarter or first and second quarters, and that's why they were winning at halftime. And then he just went ice cold, didn't even attempt that many shots in the second half, and you know that was it basically because Paul obviously is a one of the best players in the league, a perennial All Star, I would say, from here on out. Um, Maybe even eventually first team All NBA at some point, or at least I think maybe he'd be on third team All NBA this year. Maybe not, but still fantastic. Fantastic player. But you see, the Celtics have 5 or 6 guys that are capable of putting up what Franz Wagner did, right? And if each of them is putting up those numbers, then obviously you're not going to beat this team. So if I'm going to give Orlando any chance at winning a game, stealing a game here, Franz Wagner's going to have to score more and help Paulo Banchero out, especially because he's really their second best player. But then you're also going to need to get points from Kentavious Caldwell Pope, KCP. Right, he just has 6 points overall. Corey Joseph plays 26 minutes and has a donut, just 0 points, took one shot. I know he's mostly a defensive player, but sometimes you just need a basket. You cannot have guys out there that are just solely defensive players. Um, that might I don't know. That maybe could hurt a team like the Thunder as well. Although the Thunder just absolutely obliterated the Grizzlies today. I think they won by 51 points, maybe the fifth best record of playoff record of all time, or playoff score differential. Um, but then you get right nothing off the bench. Um, you get I think just as I'm looking at here, you get 17 points from the bench for the Magic, and Payton Pritchard scores 19 points, so he outdoes the Orlando bench by himself. So that can't happen if you're gonna need to win if you're gonna win a game. Like, and that's why I'm taking this to be a sweep. Not because the Celtics defense is that much better than Orlando. Um, right? I think Orlando has one of the best defenses in the league, maybe second. I would say their numbers say second. I don't know if they're second. Maybe the Celtics are second. Maybe the Rockets. I'm not sure. But when you just stall out at some points and you can't get it going again on offense, um, you're gonna have trouble winning games, and that's why they were 41-41 on the season, right? You have one of the best defenses in the league and one of the worst offenses in the league, and obviously, right, guys went down early and are out for the season, and Mo Wagner, Jalen Suggs, you could have definitely been a high playoff team. I think their offense would have been much better. They might have even been, a fourth or fifth seed had those two players not gone down for the season. So this is not a team that, even if it's a sweep in this round, they're going to be a threat from here on out for the next couple of years or so. But it is only game one, so I'm not going to react too much to it because the Celtics still have to win 3 more games. They have to go into Orlando. It's great that the Celtics get the first one, especially at home, as they have struggled at home in recent playoffs and of course this year. Not a great, I mean, obviously a great home record, but not compared to their road record. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Follow on social media. After this video is published, you can check it out or listen to it on Spotify as well. But until next time, or sorry, the Celtics play Wednesday. I will be live after that one, hopefully. If not, it will be out that tomorrow morning. I have to check my schedule. But Wednesday, 3 games off here, or 3 days off here, which I don't really like. I wish they would play every other day, get this series going, because they could finish these series and not have it going all the way until late June. But yeah, play Wednesday, play Friday. We will have highlights. We will have all sorts of stuff coming out throughout the week. So until next time, go Celtics.
Lights up TD Garden.
It's over. Time to say it again, Boston. Anything's possible. Banner number 18 has been secured.